G'day, Aussie Bonsai Bloke, there you go. G'day guys, well, been a couple of weeks since I've done a video, although I may upload the one that I did a few weeks ago, only a day or so before this one, so it'll only be a day. But anyway, it's been a couple of weeks since I actually filmed one. We got some really exciting news. I have been shopping. So because of you guys helping me out watching the channel, subscribing and all of that, ended up getting a bit of cash from YouTube, which has now helped me out to buy these pots. So these pots are from Luke Parsons, Adelaide Bonsai Potter Luke Parsons. Just check him out, Google him, you'll find his name. I'll try and find his card. I did have a card from him, but I can't find it, so anyway. Pretty exciting. So I went for a big drive and picked them up. We got this one at the back. This is his prototype for me, and this one here is a really dry looking pot, you know, for a really arid type Australian tree. And he gets this really cool sort of, I don't know, groggy look to it. Pretty cool. Next one. So I ordered these two pots, by the way, this one and this one, for my Mallee trees, the bottle brush and the other Mallee, sort of like a honey myrtle but with a purple flower. I'm sure you guys will help me out as to what it actually is. But also, big shout out to someone, I don't even know their name, don't know where they're from, but an anonymous person, really cool, anonymous person sent me a pot from Luke Parsons, got in contact with Luke Parsons without me knowing, and when I picked up these two pots, I just happened to be getting pots anyway, and they'd sent him some cash to get a pot, for me to get a pot. So it's really cool pot. So thank you very much, whoever it was, wherever you are, you wanted to remain anonymous, so you shall. But I just really appreciate it. It's a massive thing for you guys, or for you, whoever sent that, to give me that, and all the support I get for the channel. I just love it. Here's the next pot from Luke Parsons. So I must say, he gave me a good discount on these because a lot of work goes into them. Handmade pots, got beautiful glaze, colours, a lot of, you know, like a burnt look to it. You can see it's pretty cool. Gets a really natural sort of bush, Australian bush look to it, basically. It really looks like these pots come from Australia. Look at this one, a harsh, burnt pot with some greens and, you know, good fit in with some mosses and some green on the top of your native trees. But I mean, hell, beautiful pot, beautiful glaze. That glaze just worked out absolutely fantastic. So that's from Luke Parsons. So we're going to be working on a tree today, and one of these pots is going to go on the bottom of that tree, but we'll work out which one in a minute. I'll let you guys decide which one, and the most votes for which pot, I'll put this tree in and put in its new home. But first of all, let's go work on the tree, and then we'll choose a pot for it after. Cheers. Good day guys, this is the beautiful tree, Mallee. Some beautiful bark peeling off here. Some nice lichen getting all over the tree, lots of lichen. Never had lichen in the past. It's just that now that I'm not watering with chlorinated water, the lichen is actually starting to grow. So big tip for you guys, if you want lichen on your trees, town water with chlorine is not a good recipe, you'll never get it to grow, but without the chlorinated town water, you get some good lichen. So right, anyway, as you will see, I just took off, just cut the tie down. Right, we'll get rid of that. Get rid of there's a couple more on the other side. I'm using my root scissors, good old root scissors. You know, it's not so critical if I reckon, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to reckon pretty badly when you're in the root system cutting rocks and stuff anyway. Basically though, this tree's been allowed to grow for a fair while after its last style. So what happens if you let it grow long and big like it is now, and quite bushy, one, it gives the tree a lot of strength, so that when you work on it again, it's got a lot of energy and it'll push back hard again. And two, because of all that extra growth, it sets the branches in place better. If I was to have trimmed this tree every time it grew just slightly out and then trim it back hard, just keeping it in check, permanently keeping it in check, what would happen is this tree would have never really picked up strength. The branches wouldn't have fattened up enough that they hold their shape, because branches hold their shape when you bend them, because what happens is new cambium, if you bend it, then new cambium grows over the shape of that bend, which holds it in place. So the more growth that you can put on, the more likely you are that you're going to be able to hold those bends. Obviously there's differences in species and varieties of trees too. So, you know, it's not a hard and fast rule. Some of your pines, I believe, are that flexible and that annoying that you can have it on for 2 years, pull it off, and it'll, within a couple of months, bend back to where it started from. And in my book, that's just too much effort for me, so I'm going to stick to things like this that are happy to keep their shape after only a few months of growing. So yeah, it's done a few months of active growing. Now, it's lost a lot of its shape, and we're going to try and work out exactly where we had this thing. So what we're going to do, right, this is Mallee style again. What we're going to do is we're going to look for where I've actually cut it in the past and basically copy that again. So basically what I was doing was just grabbing a handful of branches and foliage, cutting it in a dome shape around the whole thing, a bit of a dome shape, letting it go. Okay, same thing here. It's my coined Mallee style that I've been promoting. At the moment I've only got this one and a bottle brush in this style. It's like getting a bucket cut. You could almost put a bucket over the top of this tree and cut it to that. Yes, I've only got two that I'm experimenting in this style, but I feel like it's a winner, so I feel like I will be doing more and more trees in this style in the future. I do have my beginner Mallee in this style, the one that I'm doing as a beginner tree, but I will tell you a couple of things about that tree. It's struggling and it's died back a lot, because last time I worked on it on a video, I cut the top back pretty hard, and then when I rooted it, or bare rooted it should I say, I cut a heck of a lot of roots off, and I pushed it too far. Basically I just pushed it too far. So anyway, so it's nearly dead. It's almost died, but I think it is reshooting. Anyway, bit of a mistake. So this one here I got from a guy, an old I guess you could call it a club or a gathering. Wasn't really anything overly formal. The Hills Bonsai Club. There's nothing formal. A few people went. So it slowly dwindled down to where we only had 3 or 4 people going. Everyone lost interest in bonsai. No one was keen anymore, and it shut down. So unless you got people turning up every week, you can't keep something going. I was turning up, but ended up just me and another bloke because other people weren't committed enough to turn up, and especially in winter, it was too cold, too wet, too whatever. And that club gathering just fizzed away to nothing. It's the only thing I've been part of so far. Anyway, one of the guys that was giving up going touring around Australia, I think, before COVID hit, he sold me this tree for a good bargain. I think just because he wanted to see it, you know, progress along. So he sold it to me for a good bargain. So thanks, Rod. Cheers for that, mate. And I think since he's sort of half got back into it, he's still got some. He's still got what we call the bayou, which is his little swamp area. He's still got that, but he's doing a bit of travelling. But poor bloke, unfortunate thing was, right when he decided he wanted to do some travelling, getting to the age where he's retired and wants to travel, bloody COVID hit, you know. Bloody COVID. So sick of hearing about it. Okay, so basically, still just doing a crew cut here and there. Just finding different levels. So basically, a mallee tree, it has all different levels. It has 3 or 4, maybe even 5 levels, all different heights where the tree grows and stops at. And you just seem to get, it's almost like laying 3 or 4 trees together. You plant one tree at the bottom, then you have another tree up the top where another foliage line stops, then another foliage line. It can get wider and wider at the top. Sometimes it's wide at the bottom, narrow, and then gets wide again. There's no hard and fast rules about whether you go wide, wide, or wide, narrow, or even if you start off narrow and go really broad at the top. There's no hard and fast rules about it. It's just whatever the tree that you're working on, you know, whatever you got to work with, basically you just sort of lean towards that. So this one's reasonably wide at the bottom and still not bad towards the top. So this one actually keeps a lot of its width the whole way up. And basically, yeah, we're just going along like this, chopping away, creating different layers. So it's only in its initial stages, which means that the layers aren't overly defined yet, and are subject, I guess, are subject to change. Oh, jeez, it's got my skin there. I guess subject to change, depending. And another thing, because they're only immature lines that we're doing, I'm not going to clean up fully the lines in between the pads, so you can fully see the branching, because my hope is that some of the smaller branches down here will still make it up to the next level of canopy, adding to the fullness of that canopy. So while it's immature and before I've got to the full design of the tree, I'm not really cleaning out the layers in between each canopy so much. I know if I did do that right now, it would actually amplify what I'm trying to do a fair bit and really make it quite visible to you guys and girls. it'll make it quite visible what I'm trying to do. But at the moment, I'm still hoping that some of these little wispy branches make it to the next canopy to add to that. And if I'm to cut it all off now, well, Bob's your uncle, and she's gone, and there'll be no chance getting it back. Now, I'll just show you the flower. Beautiful flower. So if anyone knows the exact name of this one, I know I've asked it before and I think someone did give me the name, but I forgot. It has this beautiful little purple flower. Absolutely beautiful little flower. Yeah, beautiful tree. Good for the landscape, or bush really, it's a bush. Probably under ideal conditions could get to 6 odd meters. This tree or bush. So basically I'm just copying where I've cut it in the past. But like I say, in the past I was just aiming for different levels of pads or branches, pads or canopies, almost canopies, not really pads. It's like separate canopies within the tree. So a canopy here, a canopy here, canopy across here. So this canopy across here will also have this part of the canopy on this side at the same level. Because if you have a look at a mallee in the wild, they do have these different canopy layers. I guess I'll call it canopy layers. They seem to have lots of different canopy layers in the tree. And then we'll go up here. Okay, just chop this one back. And we'll try and make this one a similar canopy. So I just sort of cluster it all together, chop it all in a ball. You can see how quick and easy it is without having to, you know, decide every little cut that you do. Extremely quick and easy way of doing it. So here's a prime example of a branch that's almost caught up to the top, and it looks a bit ugly halfway between canopies. This one here and this one here. They look pretty ugly halfway between canopies, but they will eventually make it to the next canopy and then, you know, add to that. So that's the whole thought process. Just let them grow up to the next canopy. It's a reasonably immature design, so we're going to let it mature before we really clean out the defining pads or canopy lines, the defining canopy lines, because I could clean out all of the green leaves from here all the way down to here, so that you have a definite line of green everywhere along the tree where canopies start and stop. Like you can see here, another one which will hopefully grow up and into there, into the next higher canopy. So yeah, she's still a little bit immature in its growth, but it's getting there. It's not far off. It's not far off having to, or being able to really get in there and clean it up. Not far off at all. And if you hang around to the end of this video, I've also got another surprise. We're going to try and find Tom's Christmas lights that he sent me, when he sent me all the gear that he sent me. And we're going to put some Christmas lights on this tree. So Christmas lights on this tree should look pretty cool. I'm going to put it out on the front deck of my house and have it out there. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Any branches that definitely just hang straight down, they're never going to make it to the top, I'm going to cut them off. Also keeping you guys live for this because I haven't done many videos lately, so I thought I'd better give you guys a decent length video. Basically, I guess what I could say is I've been working on the garden outside almost too much, and that's caused me to, I don't know whether it's not have time for bonsai or just, you know, put my interest more into getting the garden bed going, planting the garden bed. It's all got to do with plants, but unfortunately not the bonsai. And I just feel like it's just taken away my attention from bonsai and put it towards, you know, garden bed. Which is okay, as long as I don't let that become a permanent thing, you know? I've got to get right back into it. So yeah, super cool variety of tree. Not sure how old, really cool trunk on this. I do have, where I'm cleaning out these bits of crap, it's actually caterpillar poo or shit. And it's in there because I don't know what sort of caterpillars they are, but I'm calling them tent caterpillars. They make this sort of nest in there, and then you end up with 10 or so caterpillars in one little spot. And they do a bit of damage, clear a few leaves. But right now they seem to have cleared out and just left their dry poo everywhere. Now, show you that one after, but there's actually a mud ball in there, which I'm guessing is a wasp nest, and I'm sure that the female's already laid its eggs in there, or the wasp. So I've just got to wait for that mud nest to open up, and then it'll kill some insects. So might even take away these caterpillars, and who knows, maybe that wasp laid its nest after it ate a heap of the caterpillars and thought, you know what, it's going to be a good spot for my babies. I don't know, but what I do know, if you can avoid it, don't spray insecticides, because you kill a lot of things that you don't want to kill that are actually helping you control your pests. You spray insecticide, you start to kill some of those. So last resort, spray some, but try not to. Okay, don't bring out the sledgehammer straight away. See what you can do first. Right, so here we're going to have a canopy that's going to go really high here. So this canopy's going really high. Higher than everything else. You can see it looks a bit funny down here. But I'm going to let a lot of that grow into this very high canopy. And this one here can probably end up matching it eventually. And this will all be the same. And then, who knows what's going on at the back here. We'll have a look. I feel like that could maybe stop level with this canopy here. So let's give it a chop-o there, good old chop-o. If you get any stragglers that just look a bit too weird, well, you can bring them back to the height of a smaller canopy, so they're not so crazy. So I don't know. I guess it's a bit like a weird haircut, but at the same time, hopefully, you know, putting a crazy twist on a tree. So yeah, still very immature in its design, not quite as mature as the bottle brush that I do. The same, not quite as mature as that, but it's getting there, slowly getting there. I hope you can at least see what we're aiming for here. This weird design. And like like I say, we'll clean out some of these areas here later on in the future. But for now, we're going to leave them so that some of the little branches can add to the top. So yeah, she's going to be a little bit messy for another year or so, maybe another couple of years. It'll start to really take on its shape. There's almost enough branching for me to go in there and clean up to what I want as a canopy, but not quite. I'm not quite happy with it, so that's why I'm not going to do it yet. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. So we've got a couple options here. We could stop the whole top of the tree here. Or we could have a couple that go a bit taller. Which, to be honest, can happen. We're going to have a look at some pictures of some mallees. They do have these weird little last branch. It just shoots a bit higher than everything else and then levels back out. So basically the sap flow or the water that goes up the tree hits a limit where it can't go anymore, or maybe the ground dries out and then that dies back, grows a bit, dies back, and you end up with the full-on apex of the tree where it just can't push any higher. And the lower ones, I think, grow a lot because what happens is the light of the tree shines in on it. As the top gets taller and taller, the light comes back in, and then you end up with these bottom canopies which are getting enough light, and that's why they keep surviving under there like that, because it's not like a normal tree like an oak where you can get a whole big canopy, then the whole middle of the tree would be dead from foliage. Not dead in the branches, but no foliage, void of foliage. These Mallee do produce different levels and layers and manage to keep hold of a lot of layers at a lot of different heights, and I think it's their way of getting maximum solar panels in the sun, basically. It's their way of getting their maximum amount of energy from the sun. They diversify and have some up tall, some in the middle, pads down low. So I'll give you guys a spin. I'll show you this wasp nest first, and then let's give it a spin. Okay, so it's been a pretty long video, but that's alright. Wasp nest. Look at that. So there's, what tells me that the wasp is still in there is that there's no hole on the outside of the mud there. You know they've hatched when the holes appear. So I think the wasp has just made that nest out of mud, which is pretty cool. And it's got its eggs in there, or babies, or larvae, or whatever they have. Another flower there. But yeah, super cool. I'll give you guys a close-up now of this trunk. Look at this trunk. Look at it, you've got bits of bark hanging off. Some sort of a myrtle. Mallee. Give you guys a spin in a minute. Like I say, it can be cleaned up more to make it look better now instantly, but I want it to just mature a little bit more before I do that. Anyway, I hope you guys, you know, can forgive me for having a bit of a messy tree. That is what it is at the moment. I'll give you guys a spin now. Just looking for, well, I can't find them, but anyway, Adrian Eggleton's turntables. Anyway, I'll show you how much we did cut off. So this is what I mean by letting it grow. If you let it grow and get strong, One, it makes the branches that you bend hold, and two, it improves the whole health of the tree. Makes it actually grow faster and develop faster. You think, oh yeah, by letting it grow too fast, you're wasting development, but you're actually improving the strength and the health of the tree, so that now it'll shoot faster and faster. I'll let it grow out bushy again, cut it back hard again, and it will just exponentially increase the growth of the tree. If I was to sit here and trim it, like some people pinch on a juniper, you'd probably find the tree will stagnate. None of these branches would develop. If you looked at this thing a year ago when I did it, half of these branches weren't even here, and if they were not even a quarter as fat. So it really does help to let your tree grow out, let it grow out, then cut it back. Let it grow out, then cut it back. If you're on it all the time, I believe you weaken the tree. I believe it's just too much. Let it grow out, then cut it back. Right, I'll give you guys a quick spin like this. Give me your honest opinion of how you think it's going. Sorry about the noise of the pot on the table. Now, I'll push it to the back because a couple of things. One, I want you guys to let me know what you think of the actual tree and the style I'm trying to do. Hope you can see that. And two, I want you guys to let me know what pot you think will suit it best. So we've got this really earthy pot with a bit of green here. Pretty cool. So that's that one. Right, I'll go and get the next one. Next one it has two sides to the glaze. He did that on purpose, Luke did, so that I could have the option of spinning it around. This one here is a duller glaze, okay? You might go with a pot and a tree. A lot of earthy tones again. Just like all Australian ceramicists seem to have, they seem to have this really earthy tone. And here we go, we've got some brighter, a lot brighter colours on this side. So maybe you guys will think that some of this brighter colour goes with that. But if you don't, you know, let me know what you think. So we got this other pot too. I feel like it's just too dry for this tree. But then we got this one here. Let me know what you think. Which one? I'll do exactly what you guys say. The most votes for one gets it, and that's what pot it's going into. And you know what? I think no matter what pot it goes into, we're not going to lose anyway. Right, so that's almost it for the video, but not it, because we're going to put some of Thingo's lights, Tom from Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors. We're going to put his Christmas lights in the tree and show it at night. So let's do that. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Alright. Cheers guys. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks for your contributions. Cheers to the person who's given me a pot for free. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers. Hello guys. Hi. Oops. Spin, spin, spin.